Hi there, we'd like to share what is wise and wonderful. I love being with Cam. I love having a good chat and chew about everything that's important in life.
Yeah, it's a really exciting session, this one. We go pretty deep with some interesting things. We do a new market snapshot. So with the interest rates just coming down at the moment, you'll love to know what we think of that.
See you soon. Well, Cam, here we are. It is October. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't know where September went, but here we are, and it's really exciting because we've got some big topics and some great questions.
Well, you just jumped off the plane, so you've been away in the Gold Coast with all our top performers.
Yep, it has, and it was a wonderful time. Great team building, fabulous food. Caught up with some colleagues overseas as well, and just looked at how they're doing things. It's a very interesting model, the Australian model, very data driven, a lot of data harvesting. Less organic than we are, a little bit more about the data than the people. Yeah. But who knows? They're both interesting models. We're very people focused, which I love. But learnt a lot. But anyway, market context from the master.
Yeah, it's been
what's happening?
A big week really, because the interest rates have come back 0.5%.
So the OCR.
Yeah. So that's really good. So there's heaps to talk about that at the moment, and it's almost like there's a lot of real estate agents and there's a lot of developers and people talking about this is the bottom, we're going to go up. Everyone I'm talking to, like the real oil, I think, is that it's a really good thing. I think it's given people a bit of optimism, and I think
we've needed it really, haven't we?
Have.
Let's face it.
It's a great thing, but it's not going to be the catalyst to set us off on a booming market again. Everyone that I'm talking to out there that I regard as smart people, business people, they are saying we've still got at least a year of this. And there's nothing wrong with the market at the moment. It's a good, fair market, but it's not going to go up anytime soon. So a lot of people, I think, have also fixed their rates. So like 6 months ago, a year ago, I fixed one of mine for 2 years, because I thought it was going to go up so much that I fixed it. But most of mine I'm floating.
Same.
But I think a lot of people, it hurts. So a lot of people won't come off the higher rates or the rates that they're on and come onto the new low rates for maybe 6 months or a year.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening at the moment. But it's given people some hope that the rates won't go up anymore. And I think that was the fear. 6 months ago, a year ago, we were active in fear. We were worried that residential rates might go up to 9%. I remember reading an article about that. And I think now we just know that they won't. So I don't know how much more they'll come down, but it's certainly not going to affect the market in the short term. At the moment, we're a washer stock.
I know, that was what I wanted to talk to you about. We have seen this incredible, I don't want to call it a deluge, but we've just seen this incredible amount of property come to us, haven't we?
Well, I did
a lot of listings.
I did a snapshot of our Papanui board the other day, and there was 45, so I think we were 8 or 9 days into the month, and there was 45 listings and 15 sales. So when you're, 2.5 times the number of listings, it means buyers have got lots of choice. Which is going to, like any optimism or any change in the market that might come from interest rates, is going to be squashed by the choice out there. So, and I think a lot of people have just been sitting on their hands for the last year thinking that it's not the time to sell because it's the bad market, and they've got their houses on the market now thinking that this is the time to sell. And all it's done is it just slowed the whole thing down. There's just nothing wrong with it, but it keeps people really honest.
So 2 tips if I were an owner?
Yeah, I think...
and I'm coming on the market, which I am. I'm an owner with you at the moment. So 2 tips. Tell me what I should be doing.
I think first of all, choose the right people.
Yeah.
I mean, real estate is about the right people. Not every real estate agent's the same. Not every company's the same. So do your due diligence. Get someone that you trust. Get someone that's got the right process and probably the skills to get you to where you need to be. Because there's 2 things with real estate. There's an analytical approach to real estate, and there's an emotional approach to real estate. The good agents pull the emotional dollars out of the marketplace.
Yeah. You always tell me about that when you compare auction versus deadline.
Yeah.
A deadline, there's no emotion really. It's all about maths. It's all about the dollar.
Yeah.
And working it out.
And it's very much
rather than being in the auction room and fighting it out.
That's right. It's about the buyer having a real win rather than the vendor winning. Yeah. My second tip would be trust your agent, trust the process.
Trust the process.
You've still got to market really well at the moment. Yeah. So the people that are, and it doesn't matter at what level, the people that are investing in advertising and the right process the results will be there.
I know the thing that I notice and I really like is, and you do it, is just reviewing those campaigns and those processes all the time, changing it up. There's nothing worse than seeing the same thing time after time that people aren't actually getting the results they need. And no one was sort of brave enough to go forward and say, hey, we need to change some things here, and really sort this out so that we can engage that interest again. And I know you always do that.
The other thing is, be brave in your marketing. Like I've got one of the things that's creeping into our real estate marketing in Christchurch is people are selling under their RVs. Yeah. And there's a lot of people out there that are using selling under RV or disregarded RV as marketing. Yeah. But a lot of people are scared to advertise like that because they feel like they're costing themselves some money.
Yeah.
But they're not really. But if your agent's telling you that and they can back it up with some genuine stats and things like that, then you need to trust them, because the more people that they get through the door, the more chance they've got of getting more money.
That whole RV thing? Yeah. And now and again we meet people who are like mathematicians, and they have looked at their RV, they've looked at all the comparative properties, they've done a lot of research and a lot of maths around it, and they've derived that everybody is either, so many percent above RV. They never tell me that they're under RV, but RV has always been something that I thought it represents the person who wants the advantage. Like when it's high, an owner sticks to it like Billy O. When it's low, a buyer coming in is really hammering you on that, eh?
Yeah, it gives them a negotiation tool, but they can be artificially inflated. So the whole thing can be manufactured by an owner to push
who's
the
adjusted
RV.
it.
Yeah, who's adjusted it.
Yeah. Or your RV is the benefit of a lot of work or higher sales happening in your location. That's it. So it's an interesting thing. So if you were to make a statement about RV, what would it be?
They're totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
They're for rateable purposes for the council. They had no representation on price. I've got examples. I've just sold a house with an RV of 2.3 million, sold it for 1.7. I sold one in Strahan a while ago, had an RV of 2.5. We sold it for 4 million. So that's how.
Oh my God.
It's
2.5 and you sold it for 4 million, and the other one was 2.3 and you sold it for what, 1.7?
Yeah. As an agent, I would rather have a low, totally irrelevant RV than an RV close to around what it was, just to make it irrelevant. There's so much information out there these days with homes and real estate.co. Trade Me will tell you what your house is worth. They're all different and they're all changing. I had some people the other day who, when they put their house on the market, one of the websites was telling them 1.9 million. By the time we'd actually come on the market 3 weeks' time, it was 1.82 million. So they're always moving because there's new things happening. Been sold.
Yeah, got you.
What's your big tip at the moment? What do you think?
What is my big tip? Well, funnily enough, we're selling some properties, as you know, and I absolutely agree with you. But I think where we've been selling homes, and it's not just because we own a staging company, but I think I really like the homes to look fabulous.
Yeah.
But realistic to your buyer pool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm thinking those well-presented, shining, sparkling properties are really standing out.
It's going back to the basics.
But windows clean.
Well, it's going back to the basics of real estate, isn't it? They always talk about 3 Ps: price, presentation, promotion. To get the best possible price, you've got to present it and promote it really well. So the people that don't present it as well or don't promote it as well, they lose money essentially. Yeah.
Like, show some care. There's nothing worse than when you look at, because I look at all the campaigns that are happening in the city, and, when I see rubbish bins out the front that haven't been moved, or, curtains hanging down, couldn't we just tidy those up as the owner's advocate? Couldn't we just take a bit of time in there? So I really like that. So I think that polish and presentation and lots of care on behalf of the person representing you. It is not good enough just to think, I'll go to an open home and I'll wait for a buyer to come in. Simply not enough.
We're still having to hustle.
Yeah, big time.
We're having to hunt for buyers is one of the terms that I'm using. So the buyers just aren't showing up in our lap. And when they do, they've got 3 or 4 houses to choose from. So sellers are fighting. I listed a property yesterday and there's 2 or 3 other properties, and I'm selling one of them in the surrounding area. And when I got to these people, they knew every property that was on the market, and they knew the history of them, because it's not just the price that they're on for, it's the context.
Yep.
And one of these particular properties had been on the market for 2 or 3 years with different agents and had never sold. Generally, that means they want too much. So these people, They actually just want to get it sold. They own property in Australia, they own property in Queenstown, they own property here. So pretty smart people.
Yes.
And they said, look, we're not going to hang out for top dollar. We just want to get it sold.
Yeah.
We don't want to sell it cheap.
That is top dollar for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Expediency.
They want to get it sold.
And getting the certainty around an unconditional sale.
And he literally said to me, that's been on the market for 6 weeks. That's been on the market for 2 years on and off. They clearly want too much. We see our value here.
Yeah.
And I actually thought their value might have been a little bit higher than what they thought. And they were so realistic, but they just wanted it sold.
Oh, wow.
And people like that, I believe, will actually get more money than what they probably think they're going to get because they'll trust the process. So if you go into it realistic and trust the process and arm your agent with the right tools, you could get a little surprise. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Now, last month, we talked about success markers.
Yep.
And a success marker is something that's either an activity or something, a value, something that a person has in this industry that kind of marks them for success.
Yeah.
So what do you think they are? What have you seen?
Work ethic's the biggest one.
Love it. Yep.
Yeah. Work ethic. I mean, everyone thinks they know how to work hard, but a lot of them don't.
Yeah, there's different sort of like different calibers of what hard work is considered. I mean, what we do is probably ridiculous, but there are, it's not just coming and doing this, scratching the surface. That's not good enough, is it?
I also think hard work it's not about 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I used to think that, I used to think that I've just got to be working all the time to get results, and that if I wasn't working, I'd miss out on something. But I've now learned that hard work is a multitude of things. Yeah. It's having the right people around you who let you work to your strengths. I think it's one of the big things. But I think it's when you're on, you're on. Yeah. So when you're working, you're working. When you're not working, you're not working. And I think a lot of people spend time trying to be
everything to everybody.
And
pretty tough, eh?
And probably doing it poorly.
Yeah.
So I think it's focus. When you're on and you're working. And that's and you probably get so many people, I think they'll think they're working an 8-hour day, but if they really look at their day, they're probably only productive for an hour and a half.
A couple of hours,
couple of hours.
Yeah.
So they might as well be doing something else, so the other 6 hours and just having an intensive 2 hours. So that's what I think is really important.
Yeah. So that's a success marker for you. That's that work ethic.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
How about you?
I like attitude.
Yeah.
I like that can-do attitude. In fact, I have changed my attitude this year, and I do this kind of thing. I go, nothing is a problem. And even when I say it, I'm smiling, because really at its essence, you can do, you can solve just about all the things that you need to solve. And rather than saying, oh, shoot, that's a real hassle, I just say nothing's a problem. And I've done it in some really sticky situations lately when people were concerned about things, and just the relief on their face. Yeah. Because, when you do something, you go and buy a product or you're getting a service and you say, hey, this isn't working. And they go, well, that's too bad. Or they've got some big rationale of excuses. Now I just think, hey, I'll sort that. Yeah. And I've really had a good response to that. So that's a big can-do attitude. So a can-do attitude for me. Gratitude for what comes out the other end, like not being entitled or taking things for granted.
I love that.
Do you like that?
I love that. Because I always think the more you give, the more you get.
Yeah. Reciprocity. Yes.
One of the things we're doing in our team at the moment was I've just heard about, and I loved it when I heard it, but it's about how am I causing this? Yeah. So rather than trying to blame somebody else and it's their fault and, they've done this to me.
Yeah, I'm blameless in my corner.
So I look at myself and I think, how am I causing this? Because every time human nature is to say that, for example, wasn't my fault, or they got that listing because they gave them a deal, or because of this reason. Yeah. So if you just sit in your own space and think, hey, how am I causing this? It gives you something to look at, because most of the time you can look back. I think all the time probably you can look back.
And there were little moments where you missed it, eh? You weren't expedient, you didn't call back quick enough, you took something for granted, you didn't actually deliver what that person hoped that you would. Yeah. I think we're saying the same thing. Yeah. I think, how did I cause this? And nothing's a problem attitude. Yeah. I think they're kind of almost aligned. Yeah. They're almost aligned.
Some magic there.
It is some magic, isn't it? Right. I've got a big question, because we've still got questions, and thank you so much for giving them to us. It says that we've both got to answer it. It's from William. but it's really quite, it's a big question.
Yeah.
Why do you keep going?
I think I keep going because maybe I'm addicted, but also I think it keeps you alive.
Yeah.
You know, I love the fact that you get up for something. It you know, like I used to in life, I used to want to retire. I used to want to work till I got enough money to retire, and then I thought, well, then I've retired, and what am I going to do? And I thought, as soon as you sort of retire, you start to die. So within reason. So I sort of want to, I think it keeps you young, it keeps you full of energy, it gives you something to work towards. I think the key to retirement is doing it in a different way.
Yeah.
It's not actually doing nothing.
Yeah.
It's actually just having more time or more
Or stepping into what you want to do.
Yeah, just doing mainly what you want to do.
Yeah.
So even I look at my real estate today and I go back, 15, 20 years ago when I was in the building parts of my business, and I was probably doing the hard grafting, deep in the trenches, grafting. I'm not doing that sort of real estate anymore. I'm doing more of a higher level real estate.
Yeah, you are.
And I'm attracting different people.
Yeah.
People that I like, people that appreciate me. That's my whole mantra. Is I just
who see value in what you're providing.
Yeah. And if I don't like them, I'm not interested in working.
It's okay.
With them.
Yeah.
They can move on.
Yeah.
If I'm not the person, that's fine.
It is fine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't be everybody's person.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest things in life is to actually be strong enough to say in a nice way, hey, this is just not working for me. It's just not worth it. I mean, the bit of business that I get from you is not worth the mental strain or the stress or whatever. So it's nice to be able to get rid of those people these days.
We're not aligned. We're just not aligned in what we're trying to do.
I mean, you spend in business, you spend 80% of your time with your problem people.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing.
Sometimes 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
Why do you keep going? When I reflect on it, I think I feel so privileged to have had this incredible, enormous career that I want to continue for quite some time, but definitely on my terms. It's almost like the gift that keeps giving. It's hard to move away from, and like you, there's certainly an addiction to that, to the thrill when it goes really well. And I'm also, I think from a mental perspective, it has given me so many additional skills and strategies. I believe it's the hardships and the stumbles and the outright falls that have given me the strength and the knowledge and the wisdom that I'm able to take going forward, and I know my mission. My mission is to grow people. I get so much pleasure from that, it's hard on them, but I think, I hate golf and bridge and tennis. I'm shit useless at all of that stuff, but the being with people, that's my gig, and this incredible industry gives me so much opportunity in that. So that's why I keep going.
You've honed in on what you love. A little bit like me, the parts of real estate and the parts of business and that you love in your life, because it's actually what makes you happy. And I'm the same. I actually love doing a bit of mentoring and talking to some agents and seeing them grow their businesses. And I do a lot of joint listings with the agents at the moment, and they like to hear me talk to owners, and they like to see me negotiate, and there's a lot of good stuff that comes from both of us for that.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of learning, isn't it? I mean, I really rate that you do that, because you certainly don't need to. You don't need to buddy with someone or joint list with someone, but you are doing it as an absolute opportunity for that person to learn from the best. I think that's fantastic.
I also love coming into work to see my PAs and see them grow, and one of them's looking for an investment property at the moment, and one of them's having a baby and things like that. So I love their lives, and I love them talking to me about what they can do to buy investment properties or what they should be doing and things like that. So
hey, talking about that, I know you and John excuse me, are doing part 2 of wealth creation in-house, which is something where you share all your knowledge around what you should be or what you could do in any of those arenas, those sort of first investment, multiple investments, subdividing, building, all of that sort of thing. I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think that's unique. I think that's unique to our company. you share so easily.
Success leaves clues, and this is the time to be doing it. We're at the bottom end of the cycle, and I don't think prices will go up immediately, but certainly now's a good time to buy because they're so much less than what they would have been 2 or 3 years ago. To me, it's not about what you pay; it's about what you buy. And having the knowledge of someone like John to actually say, hey, maybe you should look at this. I had a good friend of a friend ring me up the other day, and they were looking for an investment property, and the investment property that they looked for is not what I thought they were going to buy, what I thought they should buy, to be honest. And I said, well, why don't you consider this? Knowing them pretty well, and that's what they're going to do, because the property that they were looking at would have been a good, safe buy, but there wouldn't have been much capital gain in it, no real upside. And I think in 5 years or 10 years' time, it'd just be a property that had gained more value. But if you'd looked at this other property that I suggested, well, that sort of style of property, there might be heaps more upside in it and more opportunities in the future.
So what was the property? I mean, you better tell all of us.
Well,
like you don't have to say the address, but just the nature of the property.
This particular person, they were looking at a unit in Mirabel, like a typical 1960s, 70s, 2-bedroom unit, and it's a good, safe investment property. I mean, I liked that as a unit because it was an older one that they could have added value to. It was in a great location. It wasn't, these new ones that you can't do much with, but it was a good property for an investment. I suggested that they go buy a land-based investment property, so more of an older house on some high-density land that they could keep and rent out, and then in 3 years' time they'd be able to build 3 or 4 houses on it, and then because I knew that they'd have the cash flow to be able to do that, so that was the right thing for them. So buy that property, pay the loan off on that house, and then develop, and you've got 3 or 4 rental properties moving down the track, and you've made money on each rental property on the way through.
Wow. Okay.
So that was my suggestion.
That's good advice. I couldn't challenge that in any way.
I think it's really just cool. Having, and we've talked about this before, I still talk to you and I still talk to John and a few different people before I go buy something to make sure, because sometimes you just need someone to slap you around the face to tell you that's not the right property for you.
What we've done before. Yeah. It's always cool fun.
Yeah. So everyone that I know that is successful has people in their corner, their ring person, I think they call it that. You can bounce some ideas off.
Now, a couple of things. We're going to do one more question. We're going to talk about the fact that in November we are travelling with a team of people from our beautiful business to Los Angeles. And we are meeting up with one of the world's most foremost real estate professionals, Bob Wolf. I'm so excited about that. And we thought we might do a wee wisdoms with Bob with us. So I'm not sure who's going to film it. We won't have a gorgeous director with us. But that's going to be really cool. And in November, we're also, we've got someone special joining us. And we can't, there's a little bit of an embargo on that at the moment. But we've got a really special person coming on board to help me and to help us in our business. And I couldn't be more grateful.
Yeah, I think in real estate at the moment, there's a lot of people looking over the fence. They're looking to see what else is on offer. And, I think sometimes when the market gets tough and when maybe business isn't going as well as what you think, you start to realise that maybe you're with the wrong tribe. Yeah. And that's how I describe it.
We've been told off for that too, haven't we? Because we're just a little bit too candid.
Yeah.
And, we're always trying to be thoughtful to everybody around us and the environment that we work in, but there are differences, and we've gone through that. Yeah, it's
a big thing. I mean, in my career, I've been offered every deal under the sun to move companies and to buy into other franchises and all sorts. And, I knew that where I was the right fit for me. So they never even flagged on my radar, really. Because I knew that I was comfortable where I was, and I knew that I'd be more successful.
And you've grown in that
money.
Space,
I think if it feels like I always had a gut feeling it was all right, and sometimes it sort of flared up, but I could put it down really quickly. But I think in real estate as agents, we get deals come across the table all the time. So you've got to pick your tribe, and I think
and look at the big picture.
How do you pick your tribe? How does it feel? I mean, what is your tribe? How do you describe it?
How do we describe our tribe?
How do you know you're with the right people?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's just, that work ethic, that care, that sort of sharing. I like a tribe that shares, not just, hey, it's all about me, I'm running my own race and whatever you do, I don't really care about. I love the fact that in our business, people will share open homes, they'll give buyers away because they haven't got the time to work on them, and they know that somebody else could be really great in that space. I think for us, there's a vested interest with everybody else helping the next person along. And that's been quite a beautiful thing.
I think it's a value thing. I think like if you're not feeling value where you are, then you're possibly with the wrong people. You know, I think that, you know, you've got to be growing. You know, they're not challenging you, and they're not trying to get you to be
your best self.
Well, not just a better real estate agent, but a better person.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So like if there's no growth where you are, what's the point?
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people make is that they don't care about the company, or they don't care about the people that they're around, because they're just going to do their own thing.
Yeah.
And they become almost like Lone Ranger individuals, and they think that's going to get them there, and that'll get them somewhere. Yeah. And if you're really gritty and determined, you'll probably still be really good, but you won't be as good as what you can be surrounding yourself by the right people. So if you find your tribe, I think the biggest thing in life, and you know, I've done nothing special but probably find my tribe and stick with it and stick with it. And we've had some tough moments, we've had some things, you know, happen, and you think, oh, I'm not sure this is working, but in the long run, you know, if you're with your tribe, it'll all work out and you're better off. You
know, I think that's the other thing. It's what, you know, I alluded to earlier. It's those stumbles, it's those tougher things that have brought the best out in us.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's where you learn.
Yeah. And you can think, and you can challenge some of your old dogmas, the way, oh, we always do this is the way it's done. Well, hey, maybe it could be done slightly differently, you know?
I think it's a respect thing as well. You know, you can get told what to do, but they need to respect you. Yeah. You know, like it's the way that it gets done.
I love that.
You know, I think there's got to be value there, and there's got to be growth, and they've got to be on the same sort of journey as you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally.
If you're not being valued, what's the point of being in around something?
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree.
It's one of the things I think you should feel. You know, I think a lot of people are probably with the wrong tribe and they don't realise it.
Do you know the value is like being seen, isn't it? Like being seen as the whole person as well. You know, not just being seen as like he's someone who can generate X dollars. I mean, that was something that came across in Australia, just the way they look at things. It's so clinical, but you know, it's being seen for much bigger reasons. Right, one question. Okay. I know we've talked about this, but it is a beautiful one. It's from Jay. Who was your inspiration when you started, and who is now?
Well, in real estate, probably, I mean, one of my mentors was my uncle in business. You know, I looked at him and he was a very successful, my auntie and uncle, I should say. They started from nothing in their backyard and they became very successful and, you know, had their own helicopters and stuff like that. So I looked up to them from that point of view. And I love self-starters. I love people that start with nothing and get to where they want to be. In real estate, when I started, I looked up to Mark O'Loughlin because I worked with Mark 4 years and he was number 2 in Canterbury at that time. Alison Aiken's a great real estate agent as well. You and John, of course, you know, like you have always been mentors of me. And I mean, I wouldn't be here without you, so I always say that. So, but that's probably...
And now, who stands in that space now?
Well, it's probably not real estate agents I look up to be honest. Yeah. You know, like I think a lot of real estate agents, you know, need to work on themselves a lot, to be honest. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not thriving for that at the moment. I'm probably looking more in health and wellness and a bigger world and business people that are, you know, doing stuff with their lives and with their people around them, I think. So, I don't know exactly now. Lots of different people.
But that's a good thing too, because it's obviously much broader.
Yeah.
It's not that sort of like this is who inspires me, and that's the end of it. So, for me, inspiration. I've always been deeply inspired by my grandmother, my dad's mother. You know, 9 children. You know, two died very early. One at birth, and one died at I think 6 months. And then she had 6 boys and a daughter, and just still worked and. I still think of her and all the things that she did and the contributions she made. So really hard-working, beautiful lady from a very large family of 14. She's always inspired me. And then I'm inspired by, you know, the likes of obviously Gilbert and Sarah Entersich and just yourself and Johnny, his work ethic, and just the people that I meet on my journey. I'm very open to being inspired. I don't find it a closed book. I just like to look around me and think, shit, that's pretty cool. You know, Trelise, she inspires me for all her creative genius. You know, so I really, really like that.
I think as you get more into your career and into life, it's more about seeing respect than being inspired.
Yeah.
And you take a little bit from everybody else, and you look at them and you think, shit, you've done really well.
Yeah.
And you know behind the scenes what, like someone like Trelise, you know what it takes
to get hard
to
work.
that sort of level. You know?
Outrageous hard work and the pressure, to deliver, seasonally,
and
all these
time,
collections.
The time.
Yeah.
Like it's not just, everyone can be a success for 1 or 2 years, but to be able to get up and do it for 20 or 30 years and build a brand like Trelise or someone's done
it's pretty special,
amazing.
Isn't it? I so love her. Now listen, final word.
Well, we're in the busy part of real estate for the next few months, so we're all going to head down and working hard. And I think just be conscious of yourself, like be conscious of not just work and earning money, but be conscious of health and wellness.
I love that.
And all that sort of stuff, because I think, people are forgetting that at the moment. I've had a few people in the last few weeks who have been sick. I had someone in the house for a lady with breast cancer, and you meet these people and it just gives you a little bit of an eye-opener there. You just need to look after yourself.
Yeah. And it's all so short, isn't it? All this beautiful life that we have, it's so incredibly short. So my last words, I'm very excited to be speaking next week with Gemma McCaw. We're presenting to a invitation-only real estate professionals, I think, from all over Christchurch and all brands, and we're talking about different things. Gemma, high performance, health and well-being. Myself, that sort of real estate practices and how you can apply those to life. So there's a bit of interact. There's some combination
Should be good
things
for someone
there.
to come and talk to us.
Yeah, I know. Well, she has been to talk to us, but that was, I think, the girls. Yep. So, yes. And also talking with Gilbert at the end of the month in Australia to all the Australian business owners.
He's a very special man.
Yeah, so I'm really excited, to do that. So I'll share some of that next month.
Look forward to it.
Right, Mr. Bailey, have a fantastic day. I know you've got a new car coming, so I think that's going to be very exciting.
Waiting a long time.
I know. Well, it's been such a privilege and a pleasure, as always, my love. Thank you.